Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are here with Live Reality Games to discuss episode 4 of Survivor Liberty University Genesis, and we are joined today by Dom. Hi, Dom. How are you?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm great. This past episode was crazy, and I'm really excited to talk more about that and maybe hear some more behind the scenes stuff from Logan. Hi, Logan.
What's up?
Okay, good. Also joining us today, we have the first person voted off of the season. We have David. Hi, David.
Hello.
It's great to meet you and talk with you a little bit, and maybe we can get some more insight into your game from that first week. I know that there was some stuff that maybe we didn't see, so it'd be good to hear your thoughts on that.
For sure.
Let's actually do that before we talk about this episode. Let's talk about David and your journey. So, David, walk us through sort of like the whole process of getting cast and then kind of your run through that first week of the game.
Sure. So I know a couple of the producers who decided that they were going to start the show. And they just approached me like, hey, I think you'd be great at this. Can you fill out this questionnaire and come in for an interview? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I did that, met with a couple people, including Logan, and was chosen to be on the cast. And then I was selected for that fall and played on the show.
Awesome. So what's your kind of background with, I guess, reality TV, reality competition?
Yeah, so the funny thing is I knew nothing about Survivor. Never watched a season, never watched an episode. I knew a lot about Big Brother, which is why I think Derek originally thought it would be a good idea for me to be on the show. I really like Big Brother. I've watched a lot of seasons that I don't remember the first season I watched Big Brother, but it's been years that I've been watching Big Brother during the summers. So that would be my reality TV type of experience there. And I know the shows are similar, but obviously they're very different as well. So Big Brother is kind of like the lead into the whole process for me and why it started. And I didn't know anything about Survivor, but I do now.
So what were kind of your thoughts as you started the game? You all meet up and you meet your tribe, and of course we have that advantage situation, the knowledge temptation. So what were kind of your thoughts behind that?
Yeah, so I took the knowledge temptation, obviously, which everyone saw in the first episode, and then had no clue what that I didn't know anything about it. So I was kind of like, this is great. Put the paper on my desk in my room. And that was kind of the end of it because I didn't know anything about it. I guess I assumed the knowledge would be like more, because again, I didn't know what an idol was. So I thought it would be more geared towards like the immediate. So like the immediate competition or the immediate tribal council that took place that week. So I was kind of lost in that aspect, which is probably a big part of why I'm not on the episodes anymore.
So you take the knowledge, you guys have your first challenge, and then after the challenge, you guys all kind of meet together as a tribe to get to know each other. And then from there, what was your week like?
Yeah, so we met up that one time, and then as the week went on, I would get like a lot of different texts and stuff about meeting up. And I'm thinking, man, these people's commitment levels are insane. Like, wow, they're really into it. And I didn't realize the dedication that these people were putting into it. And I didn't realize how much of a social, like outside of the days that we were all together for competitions and stuff like that, I didn't realize the amount of time that these people would actually put into it. And I didn't have that time. So it was kind of hard to meet up with these people and to talk to these people. So, I mean, as you saw in the episode, there was a little bit of, people were a little fed up. I think that I wasn't responding necessarily as fast or even sometimes at all. And in the first week, that's a disadvantage because they're just looking for a reason to vote someone off. It might not always necessarily be the best reason, but they have to have a reason because no one even knows each other at this point. So, it was just an easy, quick way for them. So my week looked like I talked to some people a little bit, but not much. And then obviously behind the scenes when, these people are on campus together, they have classes and whatever, so they're seeing each other a lot. And as, the week is going on and I'm in a lot less contact than the rest of the people in my tribe are, obviously they came to the conclusion that the easiest thing and the right thing to do was to vote me out. And it was a little blindsiding, but at the same time, looking back, like I totally understand it. I just totally lack communication. So that's kind of what happened that week.
Moral of the story is that David actually has a life. All these other people
Yeah.
didn't. So David was.
I don't want to say that per se. Like, they dedicated more time to that than I was able and willing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what happened. And I enjoyed it. I'm enjoying watching the episodes now. I watch every single one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Now
I'm a Survivor fan now.
Yeah, I kind of wish I put more effort in now looking back. But back then, no, I wasn't willing or able. So
yeah,
it didn't last long.
So David, you said that you were blindsided. Who do you think coming out of the game, who blindsided you the hardest? Who did you think you had in like solidly that like maybe hurt a little too close to home?
Well, definitely Megan, because we had went out to eat earlier in that week and like we had all decided everything was like set on Ben, and a little indication of what was going on that week, probably would have been nice. Even though, I understand why she had to vote with everybody else because that early in the game, you can't tick off the rest of the tribe.
Yeah.
But a little indication to like, hey, this is probably what's going on, a little earlier might have been nice. So that'd probably be who I would say.
Gotcha.
Well, so David, you're still watching.
Yep.
What were your thoughts on this episode?
It's definitely a really interesting episode. I actually have a very strong scent of smell, so I was gagging while I was watching the competition.
Oh gosh.
Imagining that competition. So I didn't envy anybody that was left, and honestly was kind of happy that I was gone at that point.
Missed that one.
Yeah,
that is not a challenge that I would have wanted to partake in. And I mean, I thought for the most part they did a good job because some of those foods were just brutal to even think about. But yeah, no, the episode overall was really great. How the tribe swap took place, and then they sent two. I like when two go to tribal council; it makes them more interesting. Obviously, the more eliminations, and that for Big Brother, I loved the double, triple eviction nights. So I like when two tribes go to tribal council. So I was really interested in the episode, and I think that it played out not how I saw. So it definitely had me on my toes the whole time because of the idols and the things found.
Yeah, let's talk about that challenge. We saw some people who did great and some people who did not do so great. We also learned that Garrett has never eaten lettuce.
Yes.
Apparently.
Any vegetables, pretty much.
Yeah, no lettuce, no cabbage. I was kind of thrown off by that, but that gives me a lot more insight into Garrett.
That we like behind the scenes moment of this challenge is just like there was this corner where we were preparing everything, so we were putting stuff onto plates, and Lauren was really one of our production members. I gotta thank her. She was like back there, and Grace would bring it out, and just some of the sardine juice and sauerkraut and everything starts mixing together, and it just smelt rank in there. And then I think it was after Garrett's, which it's like off camera, but he just spits up everything that's in his mouth that second right after that challenge was over into the trash can list beside him. So he didn't even finish it. So he still has not had any type of cabbage or vegetable because he can spit all of it out. So didn't even get any down. It was pretty gross.
Yeah, I don't know that dude, but he looks pretty in shape. So I was kind of surprised to hear that he eats lettuce. But
yeah, he has good metabolism.
Yeah,
He's up in the air, aviation.
We got a nice question from the audience. Could we have done the eating challenge? Logan, what was like your idea putting these ingredients together? Like,
yeah, we literally just went to Walmart and just found the weirdest stuff we could find, a bunch of pickled stuff. So if you like pickled stuff, hey, like you're gonna smash it. Survivor Cast International, I think his name is Cody. He was like, dude, I love pickled stuff, so I would smash this. Me personally, unless it's a pickle, I don't like pickled stuff, so I would have done it for the sake of winning, but it wouldn't have been fun.
David, what about you? Are you glad you missed out on that challenge, or?
Yeah, like I just don't think my commitment level is high enough to do this. Like I don't know that just look the little sardines like ugh. I would have done it, but just ugh.
Yeah,
I would have probably faked it until everyone else finished. And then, like, little fist pump on the table that was over.
Yeah.
Drew, do you think you could stomach it all?
I'm thinking through the items. I've done an eating challenge in a live game before, and I actually had to eat balut, and I got through it. It took me a minute, but I got through it. It was like a first 2 people to finish or whatever move on, and I wasn't the first person, but like I got through it.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad. That was really bad. I think I could get through all the vegetables and the cactus and such, but the sardines maybe would have. Been.
Sadly, they didn't have balut at Walmart that day, so missed out on the exotic foods.
I'm surprised at how many people don't eat sauerkraut. I don't know if that's just a Michigan thing, but like when I bought it for my game, I was like, oh, this will just be an easy round. Like people just get it through. But when I brought it out, they all like, I've never had it. Like, and I was like, what the heck?
I've never had sauerkraut still.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I haven't had it either, but they're always at like the family barbecues and stuff. So like people eat that kind of normally.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, older people.
And me, I guess.
Old people and Dom.
But no, that stuff is you had a good variety of stuff, and I can definitely relate to it. Putting off a stink once like everything all comes together. But
yeah, it was.
That was an insane challenge. People went all out. But I think the highlight of that challenge was Luke finding not 1, not 2, but all 3 of those idol clues. That was insane.
Yeah. The moment I saw this and he felt for that first one, I was like, you have to feel for the other 2. There, there's got to be 2 more. And when he did, I was like, yes, thank goodness we got it.
Yeah. Behind the scenes for that, so he said how he came back at the end of the challenge in front of everybody to get the last one. And I was literally walking beside the table right where they were. And he walks up to me, looks me straight in the eyes and pulls it down. So it was a pretty bad A moment from from Luke, where he's just like in the middle of everybody, just like, I'm just going to take this. Like he knew what he needed to do to possibly get out of the week. And he did it. And I was like, respect for that. Like someone could have found you out, but no one did.
Yeah. I was so surprised watching that back. Like he was, all up in that table, like taking it all out, and I was just surprised. Like he reaches right in front of Ben, and Ben doesn't even look down.
Right in front of Ben's crotch.
I was like, if I was Ben, I'd be like, "What are you doing down there?" I was surprised, and also equally impressed that he was able to get all 3 of those without anybody detecting it. And it's like you didn't even see. I don't even know if like. Anybody, it was on anybody's radar at that point. You often kind of forget about like advantages at challenges and stuff. So like when you're in the game and playing, and it takes like people to, accidentally put their hand under the table or actually be looking for that kind of stuff that, to come out on top and get those things. So Luke just, was either in the right place or right time and thought quickly. And I thought, that was a solid move from him.
Yeah. That's the thing with on the production side is like, for example, the clue that Nicole found previously in the game, it was just sitting under their placemat, and Garrett lifts up that placemat and takes it and brings it to us and leaves that clue there. So like on a production side, you're like, please someone get it so that we can have this, like use this footage, or that we could have this advantage or whatever it might be. And Nicole just happened to go back to that. She went back to almost every single place we had a challenge, and looked for an idol, and then she ended up finding that clue. But Luke, we were like, there might not be anyone that finds this, and then Luke just not only found one but found all three. And then also props to Ben for being so locked in on the challenge that he was completely oblivious to someone grabbing near his crotch. But he clutched it out for his team, and maybe saved himself going home. So Ben had his own focus.
Yeah, let's talk about these new tribes for a second. So first we have the new tribe, the Pashan tribe, which is Ellie, Nicole, Nate, and Ben, which is an interesting group because honestly, I think everybody on Tigress got a little bit swap screwed because nobody on Tigress really got swapped with someone they trust except for that Nate Nicole duo.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been an interesting tribal because I kind of feel like Ellie might have gone out if they had lost, which would be bad because I'm a big Ellie fan. Ellie's my favorite player of the season. We're just gonna cut to that. I love Ellie. But
yeah,
that's a crazy group.
Yeah, I think it could have went either way. That's what, as production after the because it was all random. They all just chose from a bucket. So based on which tribe, each tribe had a bucket, and it could have been a lot worse for Gihan, where they were in a worse position. But on that tribe, I think it's whoever gets to Ben first. Like if Ellie gets to Ben first, maybe it's Nate, or if Nate and Nicole get to Ben first, it could be the other way around. But having Nate and Nicole on that with that tight alliance, it definitely could have been a disaster for Ellie if Ben made a good connection with them.
Yeah, we got another comment that says the 4 per team is so hard to navigate, and honestly, that I found that out to be super true. I was super pumped when you guys split them into 3 tribes. I thought that was gonna be super exciting to see the different dynamics move across. But then you kind of start to realize that there's only 4 people on the team, and it only takes 2 and 2 to tie. So what were your thoughts on the production end of making that all come together? Were you expecting somebody to go to Rocks, or were like those idols out there to pick up the game a little bit and like maybe do that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in that situation, it can kind of go 2 ways. Luke finds his idols and uses that really like new school-esque way to get through that week, or it comes down to completely social connections and making those bonds. Because no one wants to go to Rocks, and I don't know if Dawson or Megan would have went to Rocks for each other. I don't know if MJ and Garrett would have went to Rocks for each other. Garrett probably would have, just because he didn't know who to vote for. But I think MJ would have flipped on him as soon as she could, because she's a very intellectual player. Mm-hmm. So I think it just comes down to those social connections. Who could make those, and vice versa for Gihan? Would they have stayed true to each other? I think it just comes down to Megan and Garrett playing it the worst, that they were the ones who went out. They didn't make those good connections. Megan pretty much telling Luke, hey, we're going to pick you guys off one by one. We'll let you be the last. Like, that is not what you tell someone, that you're going to allow them to be the last person. And then Garrett just being a little bit, Garrett finally played and was he overplayed. So yeah, from a production script perspective, we were just looking forward to, hopefully seeing really some social connections made that swayed that vote.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting to see how, you have like this overarching theme of like Tiger strong. Like you can play a drinking game of how many people said Tiger strong this episode. But I was really curious to see how much of that like would waver throughout the episode, and like we kind of saw like that they were Tiger strong, and it's funny because like that was kind of their downfall in the end, I feel like.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know really what any of the Tigress people were kind of thinking this week, because we didn't really see MJ do that much. Megan went about her gameplay the wrong way and kind of being like you were talking about, we'll just pick you off one by one but let you be the last one. Garrett didn't know what he was doing. I don't know what was going on with the Tigris people this week, but it's clear that the Tigris people are playing more aggressively, I think, outwardly, so that'll be interesting to see continuing to move forward.
Well, Nate's good. Nate's a silent assassin. Not Tigris, the Gihan Nate. He's a silent assassin, and Garrett was spilling too much. That whole segment, I'm like, Garrett's done. Nate is too good at the game, and he knows too much about it, and you could just tell that whole conversation, this dude was done.
David, playing with the Gihan people, who, I feel like some players are a little bit easier to hold back their super fandom and all the knowledge that they have, and it sounds like Nate from Gihan might be one of them. Who else maybe has overplayed their hand for you when you were in the game? It was obvious that they knew so much about the game.
Nate's the opposite of that. He held it back. You could just tell he was very intellectually there. Maybe Luke a little bit. He's just not in a bad way, but very try hard. He wants to just be on top of everything, kind of control it all. He's good at the physical stuff. So maybe Luke a little bit, but really no one that much. Everyone, I also wasn't in long enough to really have an opinion, but really maybe Luke, I would say, but no, most people were kind of quiet. Couldn't really get a read on most of them. But again, it wasn't that long. So.
Gotcha. Well, you said, Luke likes to be on top, and I think some people are starting to notice that. I remember we had there's a pretty solid conversation between Nate and Alexa, yes, thank you. And they mentioned how Luke, if he's at the end, he's got it, and that's something to pat yourself on the back for as a Survivor player. Maybe at Final Four when people are talking about that, not even before you merge. So while Luke, I think, is playing a great game so far, he does seem to be an obvious target for being on top, because it's very easy for having those two idols and playing two idols at that tribal council for his alliance members to be Luke got me that. Luke found both of them. And pin that target on him a little bit further. So
I'm not sure how long he's gonna go. I don't know, but I just feel like everybody kind of knows how good he is. So they're kind of riding it to the people with him are kind of riding it to get him through. But Nate's really smart. So Nate is not going to take him to the end just because he won't beat him.
Yeah.
So I would assume that it's probably coming at some point. Now I don't know if they're merging or what the deal is coming up. But yeah, I don't think I'm not so sure he'll go too much further.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty obvious to even the people who haven't been with Luke that Luke's running it. When you look back on literally every other week in the game, except for the Sam elimination, was Luke doing, really, or Luke was involved in some way. So it's pretty obvious that Luke is in charge, and I love watching Luke. I think Luke is super entertaining. I think he's a good player, but I'm also very weary of when his house of cards is going to be blown over.
I really like that little segment that he gave about how voting people out is going to be a little bit harder, especially as a freshman, and these are the first people you really meet. Really kind of took me back to my freshman year, and the meeting people and just that kind of excitement. And you do get to kind of talk to these people throughout the whole experience. And so forming these bonds, it could be a little bit harder, especially when they're probably the only people that you know. And I thought that was a great little step back, look at it in a real light that I really appreciate that Luke brought to the game this episode.
Yeah, it's kind of like my situation where, it's a game show, but we're not on an island, and that's not the only thing we've got going on, right? So it's it is social, social life and friends, and you have to have the time, so it's, I think it shows people he was, he brought his personal life into it because, again, we're obviously not on the real show. It's not the only thing that we have going on. So I like that. I like that part too.
Yeah, it's a cool perspective because even in the real Survivor, you're still connected to the community, but you maybe live separate to other people. But he was saying him and Dawson live in the same dorm, and he might have classes with other freshmen in freshman classes where he's sitting. You're sitting across the auditorium with someone who you're voted out or something like that, and it's just like much more of a personal kind of thing where you're trying to make friends as a freshman, but then you're also like trying to play a game to win, and like how do you like strike that balance between making friends and being genuine, but then also trying to play a game where you lie and manipulate people?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that can transition us right into our big talking point was like Luke's whole I don't want to say betrayal because they weren't really like truthful, or I guess, but it was like Dawson and Megan, and he just flipped the script on them. What is everybody's thoughts on that? I feel like that's got to hurt for Dawson and especially probably Megan at this point. But yeah,
I mean, it was a genius play. Just tell him, yeah, I got you. We'll get Alexa and then play it on her.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of stupid for them to believe that. Like the whole time, once I knew, I'm kind of like, why would he turn? Why would you believe that he's with you when you know he's been working with Alexa? At least you know they've been in the same tribe. So I just was kind of the whole time a little skeptical of if that would even go through. So yeah, he played him, but that's like a very that's not. It's creative, but not really that creative. Like people do that. So I was kind of like surprised that they fell that deep into it, especially. He had just met these new two. Like I said, he's been with Alexa the whole time. So, I mean, like, smart play on his point, but probably could have been caught a little earlier. So,
Yeah,
I think they didn't know he had the idol, but, like, we don't see the conversations that he had, but, like, so he must have been pretty persuasive. But I think I might have just been like, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but I think, you can just kind of be like, well, why is he so receptive to this? Maybe because he's trying to save himself, I guess. I don't know. That was just a little, I don't know.
I think it kind of goes back to that Tiger Strong thing, and I think there's a little bit of arrogance there too. They really did think they were the superior tribe, the superior players, and they thought they were like a cohesive bunch that were going. They like Nate said it in his conversation early on with Dawson. Like, I firmly believe that someone on this tribe, the Tigers tribe, is going to win this game, and they were super arrogant and like, hey, like, and Luke said it in one of his confessionals after a challenge. He's like, they're going to pay for that. And like, if of course they didn't see those confessionals and stuff that like we saw, like Luke is not a Tigers guy. He is not happy with how they acted. He's not happy with this whole Tiger Strong. We're going to pick you all off and you'll be the last one. We'll allow you to do that. So I think kind of they were just blinded by arrogance and thinking that they were just the superior players in that sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I think now that like we're bringing everything to the table, I think Tigers really putting everything, reading it on paper. They technically didn't really lose a challenge, right? So having that like going into like a swap and having that under your belt, and the fact that I don't know, it's just like a whirlwind that. I feel was the perfect storm for the Gihan people to make a move, and they indeed did. But the question is, was it the right move? Because, they voted out Megan, and instead of Dawson, the other tribe voted out Garrett instead of MJ. So if you're sitting in that spot, do you think that they made the right move? Either or, depending on what tribe you're talking about.
Kind of like the weaker player in both scenarios. I don't know. I guess it just depends on your mind. I guess at this point they didn't want to take shots at some of those. Just kind of go for the weaker links that don't have many connections and just I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know that even going back. So if I was Luke, I would not have even shown Liz that I had more than one idol clue. Like I would have been like, oh yay, we have one idol, great, perfect, and then found the other one myself, and then
I do have I'll butt in right here for the behind the scenes, which I believe this is true. So Luke had the idol clues in his socks, and he pulled out the wrong clue. So he had one clue in each sock, I believe. He pulled out the wrong clue when he was sitting there with Liz, and showed her a clue that he didn't mean to show her. So he actually did not mean to spill his cards to Liz like he did. And I think, so that's why they did all that hunting together, is because he accidentally showed her a clue that he didn't mean to do.
Yeah, I don't know that it's hard to say whether it was a misstep because it helps either direction, would be them giving one of the idols away. If I were them, I would just say, okay, we use one idol now and bring one idol with us into the next week.
Yeah.
But either way, they got rid of a potential adversary. So who's to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest, like there's two different ways. My thoughts kind of immediately though, when they got for Garrett, I was kind of bummed. I've been a Garrett supporter since day one, as we all know. But the fact that like he was so open with his game and so very, I feel like one-dimensional with his game, that's easier to keep tabs on than whatever MJ's can do. And so I felt like that might have been the wrong decision on their tribe. On the other tribe, obviously, I also really like Dawson. I'm glad that he ended up staying, but I feel like he's a little bit more of a dangerous player than what Megan presented in that sense. So I don't know if Luke, had like a little vendetta for her saying, we'll save you and going for her. But I feel like both Dawson and MJ can do some damage when it comes to more damage than the other two would have been able to. So that's where I get a little bit like, okay, that was a good move.
That was kind of my point. They went after the two weaker players in both instances. Right. And I don't know what the mindset was on that, but I think sometimes it's hard. Like in any game show, it's hard to go after it's not that those two were very strong players in the game, but it's hard to go after the stronger players. It's just kind of easy to pick off the pawns.
Yeah.
I think in that sense too, we saw Garrett rub Nathan the wrong way in this episode, but also they're starting to think maybe a merge is coming soon. Garrett is clearly very athletic, so maybe he's going to also be a challenge threat. So there is but we also saw MJ absolutely beast the food eating challenge, but I think they were banking on that there's not going to be any more food challenges for the rest of the season. But I think he did have his a threat to him, but he's also a very moldable player for someone who is strategic. So,
yeah.
Do we think that idol play, another thing that popped up, I felt like that idol give to Nathan could have definitely highlighted them as a three, both Liz, Nathan, and Luke. I felt like that might have also like isolate them from their other Gihan people, because like once they start to compare notes, you can start to figure out who got the information first, who helped Luke look for the idol clue. And it's just like, I feel like it's a little bit of a mess. While like it was a good play potentially to get the numbers, you still got to keep those numbers, together coming in. So while Tigers might be strong and Luke's trying to get like a Gihan strong rally going, I don't know if it'll be worth it in the next round. So I'm kind of nervous for. I love to see the big moves, the big plays, go out guns blazing, but
it's fun for us to watch.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's definitely a tricky situation to see where they're at.
Yeah, two things like moving forward. First of all, if I'm Ben, when I find out about all of this, I'm gonna be like, what? And then I'm going to put myself in a position where I'm wondering, would they have done the same thing for me had my tribe lost? If my tribe lost, would I've been given an idol? If assuming he knows that it was a gift, he couldn't know absolutely nothing. Yeah. And then my second thought is, if I'm Dawson, I'm really hoping for a merge or something to come soon, because first of all, you just made this deal with Luke that you would work together, and then Luke didn't tell you anything and pulled out an idol at tribal council. Second of all, you just lost the other Tigers member on your own tribe, and you're alone. So like there's so many things coming against you. So it'll be interesting to see sort of because Dawson this whole season so far has been like, I don't want to play too hard. Like I'm not really into the whole strategy yet. Like let's just chill for a while. Mm-hmm. And he still kind of seems to be more in that place. But if I'm Dawson now, I'm panicked. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what Dawson will do moving forward.
Mm-hmm. I am too. I think he'd be able to, at the merge, definitely go back to flying under the radar and making the moves that he needs to make. So I feel if the next time on Survivor is accurate, I hope that we get to see some moves being made at the merge. And I don't know if it'll be like a Gihan versus Tigris again and going at it. It might honestly just be like whoever can, I feel like it could be voting blocks and just going accordingly, or, just two alliances going at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do think it's fascinating, like maybe an old school Survivor where you really stuck to your alliance and your starting tribe was like the tribe that you really ride or die with. And I think it's funny, like in this first iteration of a semester-long Survivor game at Liberty University, just the fact that it's kind of also old school-esque. Like, yes, you have idols and new school mechanics and stuff like that, but really what it's coming down to is like they're sticking with those social bonds that they made at the beginning of the game, and those are really what is so far has held true. So I think it'll be interesting as the game progresses, is if they move to a new school strategy of voting blocks, or if they stick to how they have done so far with really a kind of old school mentality.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping that we move a little bit more towards new school. I think it makes sense when you think about it that they've been playing old school because Tigris never lost any challenges.
Yeah.
So they didn't even, the first 2 weeks for them, they didn't even really have to strategize. And then the Sam boot was kind of basically it was unanimous with the information that we have now. And then Gihan had voted out David, Megan, and Addie Grace, who were the three that weren't in the core five. So they're all united. So it makes sense that it's two sides still against each other because one side hasn't faced adversity really, and the other side has gotten rid of all of their adversity.
I want to see, on a side note, Nate and Ellie don't really get along, and they ended up in the same tribe. I kind of wanted to see them have to go through something. So kind of
Yeah.
So
that would be really interesting.
Have to. But yeah, I really wanted to see them have to figure something out.
Yeah. We've seen that Ellie, when someone crosses her, she doesn't hesitate. So
and that's why she's my
favorite. If only we could have had a Ellie versus Nate, another battle.
Hey, maybe we'll get it next week.
It's true.
Well, moving into our next portion, let's take a look at the Edgic from this week. I feel like it was noted before the show that we don't have any invisible people this episode, so good job on the editing over there. Garrett got some content as compared to the last people, but Drew, do you want to walk us through this?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that Luke got a over-the-top edit this week. We got a lot of Luke screen time. It was all very energized, over the top, getting to really see who Luke is. Everybody else kind of did their own thing this week. Nobody really stood out in a good or bad way. I mean, we got a lot of Liz content as well, but yeah, I mean, there's however you want to interpret this is how you want to interpret it.
Definitely. Was there anybody that you were surprised didn't get more content this week, or somebody that
I want to see more of Alexa. I really want to know what Alexa's thinking, because in the first episode especially, we got to see that she's really intuitive, but we haven't really seen a lot of just Alexa sitting down, talking to a camera, saying, "This is my strategy. This is what's going on." And I would really like to see that.
She's the one that turned the tides week 1.
Right. Exactly.
So David doesn't want to see her succeed.
I wasn't going to say it, but I'm ready for her to go when that happens. Hopefully.
Dang.
I mean, nothing against her personally, but you saw how the
no, it's definitely you got your eyes on the people that took you out. I mean, I respect
that
it.
Makes me happy.
So David, who left in the game? Who are you rooting for now? Is it just like Tiger Strong, Gihan's dead to you, or like who do you think is your front runner right now?
It was more rooting against. And Megan went out week 3, so that was good. I'm rooting against Alexa. I'm rooting against Ben. I really like Nate on Gihan. I just feel like he's good, and Nate and Luke definitely gave me the chance to get in their core group.
Mm-hmm.
Like they hit me up a ton, so like I can't blame them because I think I had the opportunity to play with them. I just didn't take it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see one of them two do well. I don't know how far Luke's going to go. Just my prediction. I also like Ellie. Like Drew said, she's just aggressive and kind of fun. Like I like watching her. MJ's pretty cool. I feel like I like most of the people left. So it's more like the people that rubbed me the wrong way. I kind of want out. But then like after that, I kind of don't really care who wins. No, it's not Gihan Strong. Wasn't long enough in there to really care about them necessarily. And now Gihan isn't even. Oh, I guess you meant like from the starting Gihan tribe. But now everyone's all different anyway. But yeah, I would like to see Nate or Luke win probably.
Solid pick. I would. They've shown some really good gameplay, especially from the right out the gate. I'd like to see both of them go far. I agree with you. I don't know how far Luke's going to make it, especially after this last tribal. But if he's able to dodge a couple rounds in the merge, I think he could have a pretty good shot at the end.
If he gets to the end, he's going to win.
I think if Luke makes it to the end, he wins.
I agree 100%. But I think there's too many intellectually talented people in the game to allow Luke to get to the end. Hence Nate, MJ, some of those people, even Alexa really knows the game well. So I just think that Luke would win at the end because he'd beat them all in the competition and then he'd win in the votes. But I don't think they're going to allow it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Luke, I know you're watching, and this is not meant to be mean, but a Luke win would be so boring.
Drew just wants adversity and an underdog.
See, I think a Luke win would be great because I feel at this point in the game, he already getting to the end for Luke is going to be hard in and of itself. So if Luke's able to like pick it up, maybe find some idols, win a couple immunity challenges. I don't know how strong the win will be in terms of maybe navigating through the merge if that's what he has to rely on. But I am rooting for Luke going into the merge. And I think a Luke win would be fantastic. It depends on how the edit portrays it. So I hope, Logan, you got a good Luke win in store for us because you took away my Garrett win.
Yeah, my call-away win.
Mm-hmm.
So Dom, has your winner pick changed?
I feel like there's my winner pick that I can see winning and I would enjoy winning, which is Nicole. I feel like we just didn't see a lot from her this episode, which I think is fair. When you have 3 tribes, it's a lot harder to get all that coverage of everybody, especially when it's kind of irrelevant and like you might take the week off for the game, especially, when it could get super stressful. And when you have an idol in your pocket, you really shouldn't have anything to worry about. So I feel like Nicole is in a really good spot right now, and I will hold on to her as a winner pick. But from this last episode, I've been rooting for Luke also from the beginning since the cast assessment. I have him in my rankings as going out in 4th place. I feel like he's going to be our fallen angel or whatever right before. That's just my guess. But yeah, I don't know if there's the person that I feel like would be super fun to watch to the end and the person that I would also be like rooting for in the end. There's Nicole and then there's Luke. So yeah. What about you, Drew?
I'm rooting for Ellie. I think an Ellie win would be great. I love people who play games with everything in them and not just mentally and play emotionally as well, because that's real life. And I also just think that that's more fun to watch and experience. So I'm definitely rooting for Ellie. If I'm looking right now at who I think are in good positions to win, I'm looking at like the second in command. So like Nicole, I'm looking at Nate, I'm looking at Liz. Those are the people who I'm kind of more leaning towards. Dawson even.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
we
we're
have to say that Dustin lost his winner pick. So Dustin, I know he's in the chat.
yeah.
RIP
Dustin,
to your winner pick.
he commented that he thinks it was a bad choice to save MJ, even though he likes her more. But she is just so well connected, which is something that I agree with. I feel like we said, Garrett may have been the smarter choice to keep around just because he's easier to keep tabs on. But there's so many things going on in the game that,
Yeah.
you got to take everything into consideration. But yeah, Dustin lost his winner pick. Unfortunately, Megan went home. At least she didn't go home first, which
True.
I think is a plus for Dustin in this case. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the rest of the season holds. Any bold predictions for this next episode?
I haven't been right with any bold predictions yet. Last week I predicted that Ellie would get into a fight this week, but she didn't. Bold predictions. I'm assuming we're getting the merge next week. I think that my bold prediction is that we are going to Rocks.
Ooh,
Wow, that's bold.
okay.
I think we're going to the merge too.
Yeah.
The
3
merge.
people on a couple tribes. I don't think. Yeah, I think we're going to the merge.
I feel my bold prediction. I think Ben is going to flip on Gihan, but you might also have some Tigris people flipping to their other side as well. Unless I think Luke, Nate, and Liz are in trouble. Maybe even Alexa, because I feel like Tigris is going to be all, you guys took our people out, like blah blah blah, like we'll go after you. So
Yeah.
it all depends if they can pull in Ben. Ben is probably in a prime spot as the swing vote right now, I feel. So
my bold prediction is that episode 5 is going to be the best episode of the season.
Oh, wow.
Rocks,
We're on an
baby.
upward trajectory still. So
Wow,
We'll see.
that means tune in for sure.
Tune in. 8 p.m.
Definitely.
Eastern, Thursday. Survivor LU on YouTube. Let's get it.
Heck yeah. Well, Dustin's adding one final comment before we go. He says that he was bummed to lose his pick, but he better than he did in Survivor Boston. So congrats to Dustin. Maybe
Good job, Dustin.
the next LRG that we all cover will see some more improvement from Dustin, and maybe one of his picks will make the merge. So, but yeah, another fantastic episode, Logan. David, thank you for joining us, and Drew, thanks for helping me co-host, get me through this first week back after a little bit of a hiatus. So, Logan, any last words for this next episode? You said it was going to be great.
Yeah, just tune in, 8 p.m. Eastern, Survivor LU on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter as well. We're excited for the rest of the season and how it continues to shake out. We'd love to hear from people who are watching and how do you guys like it. So continue to send in comments on our YouTube and our post-episode polls and stuff. But appreciate for watching and excited for episode 5.
Heck yeah. And we will be recapping that episode next, the Monday following the Thursday. At 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we will be on YouTube, on Facebook to find us there. So thanks for following along. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope everybody else has a great week ahead of them. Happy Monday.
Thanks, guys.
All righty.
Peace.
Bye.